Take a look at a clock. One with a ticking second hand. Watch it for a moment. Then glance away and then snap your eyes back to it. For just an instant, the second hand seems to freeze. It hangs there a beat too long, as if time itself hesitated before starting again. It feels like a glitch in the clock, a trick of tired eyes, something you'd forget in a second. But the real answer is far stranger, because that frozen second isn't happening in the clock. It's happening in you. And it's a tiny crack in one of the biggest illusions your brain has ever built. You believe that time is out there, a river flowing past you at steady, honest speed. 1 second, then the next, and then another one. The same for everyone, everywhere. You are wrong. Time is not something you measure. It is something you make. And your brain is a terrible, biased, brilliant clockmaker. Start with that frozen second hand. Scientists have a name for it. They call it chronostasis. When you move your eyes quickly from one place to another, your vision briefly goes blind. Your eyes are moving too fast to see, so your brain simply switches the picture off for a fraction of a second. But your brain hates gaps. It hates the idea that you were blank for even an instant, so it does something sneaky. It takes the first clear image you land on, the clock, and it stretches that image backward in time to cover the blindness. It fills the missing moment with the second hand you eventually see, and to you, it feels like the hand simply paused. You didn't see time stop. You just watched your brain edit the tape and hide the cut. Now hold that thought, because if your brain can invent a fraction of a second so smoothly that you'd swear it was real, what else could your brain be inventing? Here's the truth that nobody tells you as a child. You do not have a clock inside your head. Not really. There's no single ticking organ counting out the seconds. Instead, your sense of time is stitched together from dozens of processes scattered across your brain, all guessing, all estimating, all constantly disagreeing. Time, for you, is a rumor your brain pieces together from evidence. And that rumor can be bent, stretched, compressed, rewritten. Think about the last time you were truly afraid. A car swerving toward you, a slip on the stairs, that sickening half second before impact. People describe those moments the same way across every culture, in every language. Everything went slow. Time stretched out like taffy. You saw every detail. You had time to think 100 thoughts in the space of one. For a long time, scientists wondered whether this was real. Does the brain actually speed up in danger, letting you see the world in slow motion, like a hero in a film? A neuroscientist named David Eagleman decided to find out, and the way he tested it is almost unbelievable. He built a device called a perceptual chronometer, a small screen strapped to the wrist, flashing numbers just a little too fast to read under normal conditions. His logic was simple. If terror really makes your brain run faster, then during a genuinely terrifying moment, you should be able to read those numbers. The slow motion would give you time, so he needed to terrify people, safely. He took volunteers to the top of a tower and dropped them. A controlled freefall over 100 feet into a net far below. No cord, just 3 seconds of pure screaming terror. And as they fall, they stared at the number on the wrist, trying to read it. They couldn't. The number stayed a blur. Their brains had not sped up at all. But here's the twist that changes everything. When Eagleman asked them afterward how long their own fall had lasted, they overestimated it, wildly. Their 3-second drop felt far longer. So the slow motion was real. But it wasn't happening during the fall. It was happening in the memory of the fall. But why? Because in a moment of terror, your brain switches into a different mode. It records everything. Every sight, every sensation, laid down in dense, rich detail, because a brain that survives a threat is a brain that remembers exactly what happened. And later, when you look back, your mind uses a strange rule to judge how long something took. More memories means more time. A moment stuffed with detail feels stretched because there's simply more of it to remember. Time didn't slow down. Your memory just got heavier and your brain measured the weight. This is the secret to almost every trick time plays on you. Your brain isn't timing the world with a stopwatch. It's guessing at duration by asking a simple question. How much happened here? That single rule explains a mystery you felt your entire life. Think back to being a child. Summers felt endless. A single afternoon could stretch on forever. A year was an eternity. But now, as an adult, whole months vanish. You blink and it's December again. Everyone feels this. Time speeds up as you age. But why? The psychologist Claudia Hammond calls one piece of this the holiday paradox. And it points straight at memory. When you're young, everything is new. Every experience is a first. Your first day of school, your first bike ride, your first taste of the ocean. Novelty forces your brain to pay attention and record in high detail. And all that detail makes time feel vast and slow. But as you age, the world becomes familiar. Your days rhyme. You drive the same route, do the same work, eat the same meals. Your brain, seeing nothing new, stops recording carefully. It compresses the repetition. And a year with almost nothing new to remember feels like it barely happened at all. The days are long, but the years are short, and now you know why. But your brain doesn't just bend time with memory. It bends it in the living moment too, using something even simpler. Attention. Just watch a pot of water, waiting for it to boil, and every second crawls. Stare at a clock, in a boring meeting, and time turns to glue. This isn't your imagination. When you focus on time itself, when you keep checking it, you pack your awareness with tiny markers of its passing, and time swells. A watch pot never boils because you're counting every second, and counting makes them heavy. But lose yourself in something, a game, a conversation, real absorbing work, and hours evaporate. You look up and the afternoon is gone. When you stop watching the clock, your brain stops recording the seconds and time collapses. There's a name for those absorbed states, that feel of time falling away. The Hungarian-American psychologist called Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi called it flow. One of its defining features is that time distorts completely. You lose it entirely, which raises an unsettling thought. The moments where you feel most alive are the exact moments your inner clock goes silent. So what is exactly keeping time in there, underneath all of this? Researchers like Warren Meck spent decades hunting for the machinery, and what they found isn't a clock at all. It's more like a rhythm section. Populations of neurons firing in patterns, and a brain chemical called dopamine acting like a volume knob on the whole thing. Flood the brain with dopamine in excitement or on certain drugs, and your internal clock speeds up, making the outside world seem to crawl. Drain it away and time drags. Your sense of time isn't ticking. It's chemical. It's mood. It runs faster or slower depending on what's flowing through you in that moment. Which means the speed of time for you is not fixed. It's a setting, and your brain modifies it constantly without ever asking you permission. Let that sink in. There's no true speed of time inside your skull. When you're happy, it flies. When you're bored, it crawls. When you're afraid, it stretches in memory. When you're a child, it's vast. When you're old, it's a blur. The emotion you feel doesn't just color your day. It literally sets the length of it. And here's the part that should stop you cold. You cannot step outside of this. There's no clean, honest view of time waiting behind the illusion. The illusion is all you have ever had. Every memory you own. Every moment you've ever called long or short, fast or slow, was measured by the same biased instrument. You have never once experienced a true second. Only your brain's best guess at one. Even the sense that time flows at all, that it moves from past to future like a current, may be something your brain adds on top. Physicists will tell you that in the raw equations of the universe, there's no flowing now, no special present moment sliding forward, just events laid out. The feeling that time moves, the feeling that this instant is happening and the last one is gone, might be one more story your mind tells you to make a still and frozen reality feel alive. But there's something almost hopeful buried in that. If time is not fixed, if it bends to novelty and attention and wonder, then you have more of it than you think. Fill your days with new things, real attention, unfamiliar roads, and your brain records more and your life feels longer from the inside. The people who seem to live twice as much don't get extra hours. They just refuse to let their days blur into each other. Look at the clock one more time. Watch the second hand freeze, that impossible instant when you snap your eyes to it. It feels like a glitch. But now you know the truth. The clock never paused. It was you, all along, quietly stitching the seconds together, deciding how heavy each one would be, building the river you thought you were floating down. Time isn't passing you by. Time is something you're making, right now, in the dark behind your eyes. And the only question that ever matters is what you chose to fill with it.